can we make Impact Wrestling the best promotion in Total Extreme Wrestling 2013? My name is the Mayor, Jason Smith. We're at it again, heading towards yet another TV taping. Also, in this episode, we will be talking about TNA Unbreakable 2005. Took place September 11th, 2005, live from the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida. This was the follow-up pay-per-view to TNA Sacrifice and was the final pay-per-view before the Bound for Glory pay-per-view spectacular that take place every year in October for Impact / GFW / TNA. As we left off, our last show was not bad, a B- rating in total. We've got one more TV before we head to the the Bound for Glory pay-per-view in-game. Our roster's looking pretty good. Our champions continue to hold suit. Our Knockouts champion, Kairi Hojo. Our world champion, Kofi Kingston. The current champions, Girls Destiny, the tag team champs, and our X Division champion, Marty Scurll. We also, at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, will have the finals of the Impact Grand Championship. There you see it. TJP versus Eddie Edwards is the final for the Impact Grand Championship. And we'll go ahead and advance today, and we'll talk about TNA Unbreakable 2005. If you don't have Impact Plus, I highly recommend picking it up. It has all of the old pay-per-views, even the weekly stuff that we haven't talked about on this show, but that is included as well in the Impact Plus pay-per-view package that they have, their streaming subscription service. So we've got pre-show work for this one. We've got a single dark match in this pay-per-view. Two dark matches. Cassidy Riley and Jarrell Clark went to a dusty finish, and then Shark Boy beat Mikey Batts in the dark matches. This is actually a pay-per-view that I started watching the other day, and I gotta be honest, it was really, really late, so I fell asleep. So I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it. I didn't even make it through the first match on the card, 3 Live Crew against the Diamonds in the Rough, who are basically Diamonds in the Rough. Some combination of those 3 guys, David Young, Elix Skipper, and Simon Diamond, have kicked off every single TNA pay-per-view, monthly pay-per-view to date. So it might be why I was just tired of seeing those guys kick off yet another Impact pay-per-view. But they were taking on 3 Live Crew back together again with E.G. James, Conan, and Ron Killing, R-Truth, in the picture. And 3 Live Crew would pick up the win in a kind of a quick match for a pay-per-view, just 4.5 minutes or so. So we'll keep an eye on this pay-per-view. We'll continue talking about the card. Let's see what's happening in game. Not a whole lot, really. We have some unread emails. Jake Christ's complaint. Misaki Ohata and Kushida have begun dating. That's fine. Neither of them are on my team or on my roster. Pollyanna Peppers and Jack Sexsmith have begun dating. I don't know who Pollyanna Peppers is, but I do know Jack Sexsmith, and he's a pretty talented member of the Progress roster. And we're keeping an eye on him. We've got him shortlisted. That's why we're getting news on that. Same with Kushida. Tomorrow we will get Jake Hager, also known as Jack Swagger, and Amy Dumas will come on board as the women's road agent tomorrow. So they'll be both available for TV. The next match on the card at TNA Unbreakable 2005, Austin Aries making another appearance on a TNA pay-per-view, taking on Roderick Strong. This is Roderick Strong's Impact pay-per-view debut. Quick 8-minute match. Aries hit the Brainbuster and hit his 450 to wrap it up and pick up the win. And then you had the team of Kip James, Billy Gunn, and Monty Brown, aka Marcus Corvan, taking on Apollo and Lance Hoyt with Sonny Siaki at ringside. And about a 10-minute match, and Kip and Monty Brown got over and picked up the win. More unread emails waiting, likely just letting us know that Jake Hager and Amy Dumas have jumped on board. And not a whole lot happened, being the Elite and the AEW Envenera pay-per-view show went down. Jake Hager, Amy Dumas leaving their respective promotions and jumping on board with us. So, we'll see here. Jake Hager is a main event player, and Amy should be a road agent. She is perfect. Actually, I want to take a look at what happens if we auto-push Jake Christ, too. If he becomes a non-wrestler. Yeah, he sure does. It's not what we wanted, so we'll keep him in the mid-card. And when we auto-push, we'll lock him in. There we go. Okay. So we'll continue on, getting closer to TV. The next match on the card, Petey Williams taking on Chris Sabin. This was supposed to be Chris Sabin taking on Shocker, who those two were partners in the Chris Candido Memorial Tag Team Tournament, but Shocker couldn't make the show. So Petey Williams would take his place. Chris Sabin would end up picking up a win, and then Matt Bentley returned to TNA, and he and Chris Sabin got into it. The next match on the card was a no DQ match between Abyss and Sabu. And the no DQ stipulation was added during the pay-per-view. This was originally just a one-on-one match between Abyss and Sabu, but the no DQ was added, and it was the usual buffet of chaos that comes with an Abyss and Sabu match that you'd expect. Thumbtacks, chairs, Sabu being Sabu, and then Sabu would take the thumbtacks after the Black Hole Slam, and Abyss would pick up the win in that one. Next up on the card was Bobby Roode and Jeff Hardy. Kind of a mundane match. It was only about 10 minutes long. Jeff Jarrett would get involved in this match, and Bobby Roode ended up picking up the win in this one. We've got decisions. I don't remember exactly what our contract offer was. We'll have to take a peek at that. Let's see here. Tony Nese got a new deal. Good for him. All right. Decisions. Oh, Kota Ibushi. That's right. I almost forgot about that. So Kota is signed. He'll be available to start work next week. Joseph Connors has a contract extension on the table from SWE. He's also a main eventer in NXT UK, which is somewhat tempting. But we'll move forward and get into the next match on the card, the 4-way elimination tag team match for the NWA World Tag Team Championship. And this one featured the defending champions, the Naturals, with Jimmy Hart at ringside. Also, Alex Shelley and Sean Waltman were a team in this one. Team Canada rolled out A1 and Eric Young, and America's Most Wanted was involved in this match as well. The Sean Waltman was supposed to be there, missed the show, and Alex Shelley started alone, but then Johnny Candido jumped in, who is Chris Candido's brother, to help out and join in as its tag team partner. Shelley and Candido were the first to get eliminated after Andy Douglas low-blowed Johnny Candido. America's Most Wanted were next out, and then the Naturals would end up retaining the NWA World Tag Team Championships after they hit their team finisher, the Natural Disaster. All right, another day down. PWG looks like they're starting all kinds of nonsense. And we'll go ahead and move forward. Nothing really happening there. Next matchup on the card, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship Ravens Rules match, aka No DQ. Raven versus Rhino in this matchup. No countouts, no DQs. Weapons are provided, which basically it's an Extreme Rules match with all weapons laid out ahead of time, so you're not digging under the ring to get them. The pizza cutter got involved again. A trash can, a staple gun. Raven, I think, Rhino stapled Raven's head in this one. Jeff Jarrett showed up again, getting involved in pretty much everybody's matches throughout the card all night long. But Jeff Hardy would get involved in this one too. Raven would hit the Raven effect on Rhino and retain the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. One more match on the card that we'll get to here in just a moment. Looks like nothing doing here, so we will check our email. Joseph Connors signed his extension with SWE, and we will head to Impact tonight. Final match on the card at TNA Unbreakable was the X Division Championship match. The champion at the time, Chris Daniels, AJ Styles, and Samoa Joe. This one went about 25 minutes or so. This was a pretty good overall. Pretty good match between the three, as you would expect from AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Chris Daniels. Everybody kind of went back and forth, and AJ would end up winning the X Division Championship after he pinned Christopher Daniels. So, all in all, not a terrible pay-per-view, and I think probably one of the better pay-per-views out of all of them in 2005, with the exception of maybe Bound for Glory, which we haven't really talked about yet. A lot of people gave the triple threat match between AJ, Samoa Joe, and Chris Daniels 5 stars, 10 out of 10, whatever you want to call it. It was great. Even Dave Meltzer handed out a 5-star on this one. This was back in the day when Dave Meltzer didn't just hand out 5-star matches. So that tells you quite a bit about that matchup. If you've never seen it, get the Impact Plus account, sign up. I'm telling you, that match right there is probably worth the price of admission to watch those matches. Absolutely, for sure on that one. So that is the TNA Unbreakable 2005 pay-per-view. Bound for Glory we'll talk about in our next episode. We've got a bunch of people retiring: Jim Duggan, Savio Vega, Brian Knobbs, Rocky Santana. Jungle Boy quits AEW. Wow, interesting. That is a very, very intriguing story we'll keep an eye on. For sure. Alright, so just a bunch of people retiring, more or less. Let's get to our TV here. I'll tell you, Bound for Glory probably, stay tuned for episode number 19, because Bound for Glory is going to be a good one that we're going to be talking about here. We are at Merlo Field for our TV taping. Merlo Field is in Oregon, Portland, Oregon, to be exact, home of the University of Portland. It is the field is home to the school's soccer club, and the complex itself has some indoor seating as well. So pretty decent sized venue, I suppose. All right, so we have our world champion Kofi Kingston. He needs somebody to work with, so we will get him some work here. And who will we plug in? The debuting Jake Hager. How about that? As somebody Kofi could take on to main event our show tonight. Jake Hager versus Kofi Kingston. Shades of 2006 WWE. Alright, so we'll slow build it for decisive victor. Title is not on the line. TJP and Eddie Edwards. We're going to do a fatal 4-way here to keep those guys involved with one another. Get our booked talent out of the way. And we will go TJP versus Johnny Impact versus Alex Shelley and Eddie Edwards in our go-home show as we march toward Bound for Glory. We'll slow build it once again for the decisive victory between those two, or those four, I guess. And we'll reconnect Kayfabe Controversy here. Get them back on board with the broadcast here in just a moment. There we go. Alright, so get that back on track here. Okay, so Kayfabe Controversy is back. I don't know what it is. Every 20 minutes the feed kicks off, so it is what it is, I suppose. Alright, so let's get a women's division match in here. Kyrie and Kira Hogan will go one-on-one. Amy Dumas is going to road agent this one. Ladies will go all out for the win. Alright, and we'll book a tag team match or two in here. Gorillas of Destiny are your tag team champions. They will be in action against Villain Enterprises. We'll get Brody King involved in a little something here, along with our X Division champion Marty Scurll. Keep him on TV while we work toward finding him an opponent for Bound for Glory. We'll do another big matchup here. Try and clean out our top of the card here. Eli Drake and Jay Lethal. I don't think those two have gone head-to-head in a while. They have not gone head-to-head at all. Last time they were involved, Rich Swann was in on the match, so we'll get those two moving here. And we'll have them open the show, work the crowd, get that fired up a little bit. Alright, we've still got 55 minutes left to book, which is good because we've still got a ton of top of the card guys that need to have some action here. Bully Ray, Gonna match up with Sami Callihan once again. And we'll get that in there. Let's see, who's next? Who is next? Let's do Rich Swann and Will Ospreay. Don't think these two have ever gone one-on-one in a match before. So we'll be able to book that out. These guys are going to be just as incredible as Eli Drake and Jay Lethal, I have a feeling. There we go. Alright, we'll get another tag team match in here. Playa, holla, holla, holla. Between the Briscoes and the Lucha Bros. Get that plugged in. Alright, so we've got all of our upper card talent in here. And I want to continue Jay White's momentum. So we'll have him take on somebody from the mid card, I think. And we'll have him take on MJF. There we go. Alright. Okay, so there's our show opener. And we could technically book another 10 minutes or so. I think we'll do that in 5-minute increments here. Let Eli and Drake go 15. There we go. Alright, so there's our show. 9 segments in total. The go-home show before we get to Bound for Glory. Here we go. First match of the night did not go over well. Jay White and MJF, kind of a crappy match. Not good. Eli Drake and Jay Lethal make up for it, though, with a B- matchup. Will Ospreay beats Rich Swann in a B- matchup as well. Kairi Hojo, Kira Hogan. Kairi picking up another win. She continues to be red hot going into the pay-per-view to defend her title against Shayna Baszler. Lucha Bros and the Briscoe Bros putting on a good show as they always do. Bully Ray, Sami Callihan tearing it up. I might have to put that one on pay-per-view with a B rating. Kind of a mediocre match for the Guerrillas of Destiny and Villain Enterprises, who pick up the win over the Guerrillas of Destiny. B- for the final 4 competitors in our Grand Championship tournament. Eddie Edwards picked up the win. He's in the final against TJP. And last but not least, our main event. These two have good chemistry together. A B- rating for Kofi and Jake Hager, with Kofi picking up the W. Alright, B- rating overall for our show, despite the slow start with Jay White and MJF. But we finished with B-, increase our popularity in 21 regions, which is what we were shooting for. We'll check our ratings, we'll check our popularity, and then we'll get on out of here and wrap up this pay-per-view for the night. Wrap up this show for the night, I guess I should say. Our episode. Hopefully we can continue to improve on our ratings. Our US ratings have actually been pretty stable the last couple of episodes of Impact Wrestling. It's our buy rate on our pay-per-view that we really have to work on here. We've got some unread emails waiting, so we'll take a look at those here momentarily. ASW UK looks like they're firing a bunch of people. Rena let go of a few people as well. And 5-Star Wrestling in Scotland is in some trouble. And hey, look at that. All right. 5-Star Wrestling has agreed to discuss a possible takeover with us. So there's a couple different options with takeovers. So the promotion that's being taken over usually has some debt. In this case, 5-Star's debt, about $17,000, 16 and a half. So we can disband the company, we pay off the debt, and everybody on the roster is a free agent. The titles go away, the events go away, and 5-Star as a whole goes away. We can pay off their debt and keep them in business, and they serve as a development territory for us, if we so choose. Option C is we go through their list of rosters, or their roster of wrestlers, we go through their titles, we go through their events and TV, we pick what we want, we pay off the debt, and we acquire those selected assets. And going through their roster, there's a handful of names that I would be interested in. Rhea O'Reilly is one of them. You've got David Taylor is another name that I would keep an eye on. Their titles as well, I would hang on to those just for the sole purpose of having them around. But I think for this point, I think 5-Star is going to serve as a UK development territory for us. So 5-Star is going to stay in business and serve as our UK territory. We looked at Shikara last time as they were in trouble with some financials, but not too terrible. They're still going to hang on. And NXT UK, which I highly doubt we're going to be able to buy away from WWE. But we'll continue to keep an eye on that as well as we roll through. So now we're 2 days away from Bound for Glory. We've got a couple of guys who need some time, but they'll get it after Bound for Glory. Our ratings, Fight Network, our UK rating, 0.59. Or excuse me, Fight Network is Canada and the US. Spike TV is down slightly, 0.01 to a 0.7 flat. And our Impact on Pop TV down to a 1.68 from a 1.72. So the ratings down just a tick, but nothing to be concerned about. They fluctuate a handful here and there. We'll check our popularity. As you can see, we're now up to a C- in 4 regions. We need to be a C+ in 8 regions. We can do that with a really strong pay-per-view. We can continue to push those numbers up, and we will definitely be looking to do that in 2 days with Impact Bound for Glory. So in those 2 days, we've got some pre-booking that we could do. We'll take a look at a Fatal 4-Way match for the Impact Championship. And we will book Kofi Kingston, obviously, because he's the champ. We'll also book Jake Hager in that, Sami Callihan, and Bully Ray will all be involved in that matchup. So we'll hang on to that as that will get booked, and then we'll get the specifics as we get to Bound for Glory. Our X Division champion, Marty Scurll, also going to need somebody to battle here. And Marty will jump in, and he will get Alex Shelley for the X Division championship. We also have our one-on-one match for the Impact Grand Championship with TJP taking on Eddie Edwards. So we'll hang on to that as well. We have our Women's Championship match between Kairi Hojo and Shayna Baszler will make her debut at this pay-per-view. And we've got our tag team championship on the line. The Gorillas of Destiny will meet the Briscoes in a one-on-one opportunity for the tag team championships. So we'll hang on to those for now as current bookings. We're going to get out of here for this episode. Getting a little on the late side here where I live. So we're going to save this up. We're going to get on out of here. Next episode, stay tuned. Impact, Bound for Glory pay-per-view in-game. And we're also talking about Bound for Glory 2005. So stay tuned for that. My name is the Mayor Jason Smith. I am out of here. Be excellent to each other. We'll see you next time.